Hello everyone, and welcome to the Omaha Public Library Florence branch. My name is Miss Rebecca, and today we will be presenting one of our virtual summer reading programs. This one is called Children's Stories, Animal Stories, and Traditional Lakota Stories. We will have a special speaker. His name is Jerome Kills Small. Funding for this program is provided by Nebraska Humanities and the Nebraska Cultural Endowment. Humanities Nebraska provides major funding for this program. Humanities Nebraska receives support from the National Endowment for the Humanities, the Nebraska State Legislature, the Nebraska Cultural Endowment, and private donations. And now I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mr. Jerome.
Good evening, my grandchildren. I'm happy to see that you come here and ask me to tell you stories. And we've been in this blizzard for a long time now. And I know you had your supper already. And so generally what we have to do, and this is a time when it's necessary to turn the lights down low so that we can get a good feeling of being together. When we cool things down, it's better to then tell stories. We only tell stories in the nighttime. And so this is the time I picked to invite you to sit around here. And I got the potbelly stove going for you, so it'll be nice and warm in here. And I put down buffalo robes here for you, and so that you can sit on them. And if you get sleepy, that's fine. Lakota storytelling, you know, as you're learning, I tell you things more and more. In Lakota storytelling, the whole idea is to know that I can put you to sleep. That's why we tell stories over and over again, in case you went to sleep last time at one story. And so I could tell you the same story sometimes again. But it will be good for you so you could remember. You could remember those stories better if you hear it more times. And so I let my dog in, Jelly. We can't say our R's in Lakota. And my grandma and grandpa, that's their dog. I could say my R's because I was able to go to school at the Catholic school and learn to speak English. So I'm going to tell my stories in English for you. And so you can learn to speak English, because there's a change coming over this land. And there are many different peoples whose language I speak, and you're going to have to meet them and be friends with the teachers and the ministers, the nuns. You're going to meet them. I did, so I know you will too. And so it's important that I tell these the way I am tonight. And, but now and then things that I have to say in Lakota, I will, because there's no other way to say some things. Some words are not translatable into English. It'll take a whole paragraph to describe just one little word in Lakota. So you have to know that. And I want you to take the Lakota language with you too. And I told you one. Ayusini means to darken the room. And so we'll start there. We darkened our room, got buffalo robes for you. You can go to sleep if you want to. That's fine. I'll tell the stories again so I could fill in for you. If you're sleeping, I'll remember who you are. And so I want to start by singing an evening song, and then at the end I'll sing the evening song again. It's just a song of gratitude. So I'm just going to sing it through one time, and at the end I'll sing it through one time again. The evening song is a song of gratitude. We have to say thank you in the evening. And so this is our time here. Ate ohunkanka opila echichielo wechosani maya kucha ate opila echichielo ina ohunkanka ochekieki nami chihuyeyo ikchewichashawa makakishelo eyaya oye wayelo eyoy. I know one of you asked me, Grandpa, do you know of any stories of why they tell us not to go outside at night? Because the Iya might get us. What's a Iya, Grandpa? You say. And so I'm going to answer that for you. Iya is a big being that eats everything. That's a Iya. Sometimes it goes back far, far, far. The biggest beings that ate everything. We see the bones all over the lands of those big monsters. In English, they call them dinosaurs, and different words for them. I don't know all of the words for them, but I know some of them. And dinosaur I know about because I learned that. And so they, that's a Iya. It's a giant. And this blizzard we're in is a giant too. We call him Wazia. We call him Wazia, grandfather winter. Wazia. Wazia means from the north. So he's the grandpa from the north. And he comes and keeps us inside too. He's a giant that keeps us inside so we can't go outside. Well, we learn to stay inside, sometimes for many, many days, sometimes for many, many weeks. And this one has been going on for many weeks, but we learned to live together in teepees for long, long times. And now that we have these log houses, we still live the same way. Notice that we only have one room in this big log home. There's no other rooms. It's just one big room. You see there's a bed over there. Mine is over here. Grandma and Grandpa's bed is over there. The cook stove is by the east door. And there's windows only to the east and then to the south. The north and the west don't have no windows because that's where the winds come from. And so we learn to open the door in the morning if it's spring and summer to let the sunlight in so it'll be warm in the home. And we have the windows and the doors to the east so in the morning the sunlight would warm us. And so those are important things to know in case you build your own home. You'll which way to put your windows and doors. Notice that Jelly's in the house. Jelly, my grandma and grandpa call him Jelly, is actually Jerry, but they don't say they're ours. So grandma and grandpa, they say Jelly. And so he's inside, and you see him sitting with all of you there. He's huge. You notice his tail is in a little curl like that over his back. I read someplace in school that a dog that has a curl over its back has a lot of dignity. And so I said, Jelly has a lot of dignity, I always say to him. And so it's a good to know characteristics, even of our animals. What makes them so nice and so special. And we're close to our animals. And so giants. In our stories, Grandma and Grandpa told me this story, and so I tell it over again too. But that's what we do. So now you're going to tell it when you get older to somebody else, and they're going to tell it to somebody else. And that's what made us live so long as Lakota people. We passed the stories on and how to make things. So when we're in this log home, we have crafts. We do things. And like now at night, we tell stories. So we already have ways to know how to stay inside, ways to protect ourselves. And we tell the little ones, don't go outside at night, or the Ia's gonna get you. The one that eats everything. And he's not dangerous. He just eats everything. And you don't want to be eaten. You don't want no monster to eat you. That's why we stay inside. And well, I'm gonna tell the story that Grandma and Grandpa told about the giant. Say the giant, when he stands up, his head nearly touches the clouds. It's huge. In our stories also we have a trickster. The trickster, we always say that he knows everybody's business because he visits people going around visiting. I don't know if he was ever married. He was always alone, and he was always visiting people and listening to their stories, even their own family stories. And if he hears something, then when he visits somebody else, he tells about what he heard. And sometimes he makes it even more colorful. Sometimes he lies about that story, and so he makes them look not too good sometimes. So he's very tricky that way. So we have to be careful what we say when he's around. But he's so sharp. He knows everything and how to get stories out of people. He asks questions and things, and so that he can take that as a treasure to tell it at the next place where he visits. And so he was valuable that way. He was kind of like a newspaper. One another, we learned what's going on over there and what's going on over here. He was like a walking newspaper. We have them now, newspapers. We have a school paper too. They call it Eapa, the announcer. That's at our school. They have a new little newspaper for the school, Eapa. And I drew pictures for the Eapa when I went to school there. And so I know that when you tell stories about, we have basketball, we had football, and we had racing, and a lot of things that we did at the school. But when we're at home, we already have a school in our homes. We teach you how to make drumsticks. We teach you how to make drums. We teach you how to paint on your drum, make designs, make it look good, and be really good at tightening the hide so you get a good sound. And you fill these with buffalo hair so it bounces. It's like really soft and it bounces. And this is elk hide. And this is the ash that I get. And I just peel the bark so it looks like I use some kind of tool to make it smooth, but I didn't. I just peeled it up. It's already smooth. I don't have to do anything. And so you have to learn those skills. You have to know when to get your little cherry, little branches come out in the ground. They go straight. And the plum when they first grow, they go straight. And that's the hardest wood to use, but I like to use ash because I could peel it. The other ones you could peel them too. Arrows for the use the cherry branch grow straight up from the ground, and the plum, we use them in ceremony. We put them in the ground and tie a feather on it for prayers. Sometimes we put tobacco tie on it for prayers. But before you take that live plant, that little limb growing out of the ground, before you take it, you offer tobacco to the Great Spirit and you sprinkle it and you say, tree, little tree, I'm gonna take you and I'm gonna make you into a drumstick. So you're gonna give your life to me, but I'm gonna honor you. At the powwows, they're gonna see you. They're gonna see you when we sing. You're gonna help us when we go buffalo hunting with the arrows. And the little plums, you little plum trees, we're gonna use you when we pray. I'm gonna offer tobacco that way to take you and honor you. We don't take things off the ground unless we're gonna use them in the right way and in a good way. And so you have to know that everything we take from the earth, we have to tell what we're gonna use that little tree for. We never take trees to use as firewood unless they're on the ground. When we take the limbs, they have to be dry limbs, and we get a stick, and then we throw the stick with the rope on it and let it wrap around the dry limb and crack it down. Cha is wood, yu is pull, chuga is make it crash down. That's what that word means. Chanyuchuga is breaking the limbs with this rope. And so we bring those back and start the fire with them in the morning. Those are the little branches we use to start the fire in the morning. The bigger wood, we bring them back and use them all night long. And so we'll be able to live warm, just like tonight. So this little trickster, he was walking along, and I don't know where he learned, but he learned how to whistle. And he knows a lot of things because he's a trickster. So he was just walking along. just so happy, just walking. Do you ever feel that way? Like you're just happy just to be alive, and it feels good, like no care in the world. Feels good. And so he was that way. He was just enjoying life. And then all of a sudden, the wind pulled him. So, and he ran forward. The wind was pulling him. And then all of a sudden, it stopped. And then the wind pushed him. So he's running this way next. And then a ways down, the wind pulled him again. So he's running that way again. In his mind, he was probably saying, because it's a trickster, oh, the wind is pulling me. Oh, the wind is pushing me. Oh, the wind is pulling me. I mean, he should be worried or something, but he's a trickster. So even he was playing with nature too. But the wind, all of a sudden, got a little bit stronger. And the wind pulled him and he was up in the air. And the wind pushed him and he was up in the air like a feather. He was up in the air. Now he was trying to grab a limb of a tree or something because he was going back and forth in the air, way in the sky, back and forth. And when he looked real well, he saw the biggest mouth in the whole wide world. There were teeth, and there were a nose and eyes way over there. It was Ea the giant. He was sleeping. He was laying sideways, and he was snoring. So every time he blows out, little iktomi would be blown away, and every time he takes his breath in, he pulls him this way again. That was the giant pulling him and pushing him, the trickster. And oh, he was afraid he was going to go in there. And when he got close, here were the teeth, and he looked in, happened to, and saw the throat looked like a cave, and way like a tunnel, and way inside, it must have been his belly. He saw people in there, and they were living like every day. There was a grandma who was grinding corn, and there was another grandma crushing the choke cherries. Gosh, ski, monkey, yay, yay. Gosh, ski, monkey, yay, yay. Gosh, ski, monkey, yay, yay. There's songs to those. There's work songs to everything we do. Pagmiza, monkey. Pagmiza, monkey. There's all kinds of work songs, and it's just fun because you hear all these sounds going on. And it was the home life of the Lakota in there. There were buffalo strips, the jerky, they were hanging, and even there was a little dog scratching himself. And so the giant must have ate a whole village. There's a whole village in there. And Iktomi saw that. Oh, I don't want to be stuck in there with everybody. I want to be free out here. I don't want to be stuck in there with everybody. I want to be free out here. And the wind blew him back out. Breathed out. And then breathed back in. He knew he was going to go in this time. Oh no, it's getting close. Oh no. Well, that time, Ea woke up. He went, and that little iktomi fell to the ground. Boom. He stood up and he started got up and started sliding sideways. He's moving his little feet sideways, looking up. This guy eats people. And the giant got up, rubbed his eye, rubbed his eye. He looked around. The little iktomi stopped. Didn't want to attract attention. He's looking. But if somebody's looking at you, he could feel it. And the giant, he felt somebody's looking at him somehow. He looked down and saw that little man standing there. Still looked at him. Now, iktomi, the trickster, he better say something real quick, right? He better get that trickster mind start to work really quick. So he did. He said, "How, Miss Unkala?" "Hi, little brother." And the giant said, "Little brother? Nobody ever called me little brother before." "You're my little brother. Don't you remember me? It's me, Ikto." "No, I don't remember you." "Little brother, I know. One time when we walked together, you told me all the plants and medicines, you know, in the valley. And I told you about all the plants and secret medicines that I knew. We told each other's back and forth. Do you remember that?" "I know about the medicines, but I don't remember you." "But it's me." See, how could I let you know so you could remember? "Oh, you told me everything you were afraid of. And I told you everything I was afraid of." Iya said, "Nobody ever told me I was afraid of anything." "But everybody's afraid of something." "Oh yeah, I'm afraid of the drum. I'm afraid of bells. I'm afraid of whistles. I'm afraid of singing. You know how they go. We-ya-ha. Oh, I scared myself. You scared me too. You scared me too. That's how we're related. I'm afraid of the same things you're afraid of. Maybe you are my chia, my older brother. Maybe because we're afraid of the same things. Yeah, that's how we're related. Don't you remember now? Kinda. Oh, good thing you remember. I know something. What? There's a village over the hill over there. Now, if you want to rest for a little while longer, I'll go see if they're still there. And then I'll come back, and if they're still there, I'll come back and get you, and we can go over there and have a feast. Well, I could probably rest a little bit longer. I could probably, I feel so good. Okay, I'm gonna rest a little bit longer. So, iktomi went back to his own village. And he said, "Mitako yapi, my relatives, hanakop tapo, listen, I want to tell you something important. Lila le taku sutacho ochicha kapiwachilo." But the young people and the friends, they said, "Oh, that's just iktomi again. He's probably going to try to tell us a lie again." Don't pay attention to. He's always telling lies. Anak up the po. We talk cakes. There's a little grandma and grandpa. Something in his voice. I think he's serious this time. Let's go listen. So that little grandma and that grandpa went to listen to iktomi. And when the younger people saw that, they all went over there too because grandma and grandpa were there. You have to have respect for them. And so iktomi, he stood there. He had a big stone. So he hopped up on top of it. He said, Mitakuya, my relatives. Iya uelo. Iya's coming this way. Naha nigluya pishnihanta. If you're not ready, he's gonna eat all of us up. Lila lochi. He is very hungry. And I know he could eat a whole village. I know. How do you know? I just know. I just know. If I told you I saw them people inside of Iya, you won't believe me anyways. So, why are you telling us? Because I don't want you to get eaten up. Now, if you don't want to get eaten up and stay in one place for a long, long time together forever, here's what you do. Here's the 4 things he's afraid of. He's afraid of the drum. He's afraid of bells. He's afraid of whistles. And he's afraid of singing. Lo wampi. Kokibche. Scared of singing. Chlachla kokibche. He's afraid of the bells. Wayajopi. Kokibche. The whistles. Scared of Chancha. He's scared of the drums. So, get all of your drums ready. Little ones, put your bells on. Girls, put your bells on. Old timers, get your eagle bone whistles. And everybody, bring your favorite songs. Because he's coming this way. I'm going to go back over there and see if he's still coming this way. If he is, what do you have to do? We're going to be ready. Head lila wash. That is a good thought to remember. Always remember what protects you. Always remember that. We have things that protect us. You know, Grandpa and Grandma, they always put the bear root on the fires in the middle when we're heating up the room. They put the bear root, the smoke comes up. It helps your lungs, so you won't get colds. You won't have sore throats. They always give you the bitter root to chew, so you won't have sore throats. They give you the rosebud berry tea, so you won't get colds. Those are all winter time protections for you. We have these already. We have these songs. We have everything already. We just have to know when to use them. Because it's always use the sweet grass. Put them with your feathers. Put them with your furs. Put them with your wool. Put the sweet grass. Sometimes burn it and smoke it, because that smoke keeps away little tiny bugs or anything that's tiny that goes into your breathing. Scares it away. That sweet grass does that. You have to remember how to protect yourself. Sometimes we say sweetgrass is mystical, sacred, but it's not only mystical and sacred, it's also practical and useful. You have to remember that these things weren't given to us for no reason. There was a reason why Grandmother Earth gave us all these protections. Some people forgot the protection. We have to remember how to live. So times when giants come, we'll always be ready. Times when we're stuck together in this room, like right now, we're sitting here all ready. When this blizzard is over, your grandpa's gonna put on the biggest powwow for celebration and victory. We'll be released from this room and go out and welcome the blue sky. Welcome the gold sun. We'll be back with the good ways again when this blizzard is over. So, iktomi went to his little brother. That's right. This time he went from his head side, so he won't get breathed in and breathed back out. And when he got close, he said, "Misankala, little brother." And the giant got him. Misankala, they're still there. Come on. Let's go. We're going to go feast. Okay, I could probably eat something about right now. So the giant stood up. And when he stood up and hit the ground with his feet, boom, thud. It was huge. And there's this little man walking beside him toward that village. Boom, thud, boom, thud. And the little man, the little iktomi, I don't know why, but when a big guy walks by a little guy, that little guy always acts tough. Oh, that little guy acting tough going back towards that village. They got closer and closer. The village was in a circle, the teepees. On the east was an opening. They call it the East Gate. On the west of that circle of teepees, there's an opening. They call it the West Gate. So iktomi says, "Misankala, wea panachati ayo, echa tumahiu, mis lechati vlad tumahi." You go to the East Gate and come in from that side. I'll go to the West Gate and come in from this side. And then we'll feast, we'll have a feast. I guess I could go that way. And Iya started to walk towards the east, where the opening is of the teepees. A huge opening. And when he was getting close, the elders, the old people remembered as well. They said it was the biggest powwow on the face of this earth. There were about 20 drums in a circle. There were singers all around it, all around the drums. And there were children, young ones, people, even some of the adults with bells on. They were all dancing, and the whistles were blowing, and then they were singing. said, my grandchildren, they said it was the biggest powwow on the face of the earth. Everything that the giant was afraid of was right in front of him. The bells were ringing, the drums were going, the whistles were blowing, people were singing their favorite songs, and oh, it was just a movement of the pulse of the earth. The giant got so scared he started to shake, and he almost fell down this way. Then he picked himself up and almost fell down this way. And he picked himself up and he started to sing. Some of the young ones copied his style. He almost went down and he went this way. And he picked himself up. The young ones saw what he was doing, so they were doing it too. They were mocking him. You're going this way now. And finally, the giant went down, way up there, all the way down, he hit the earth. Boom! Dust flew all the way up in the sky. There was a small breeze, and they said, you know, later on in life, there was these, they call them scientists. They had these round glass. They were looking at the layers of the earth. And they said, that's the layer that came from the north. It must have been that giant, how the dust flew, even towards the Nebraska, the flattened land. That's what they call it. Nebraska, the flattened land. One of the layers on the flattened land was from the huge power that was on this earth at one time to scare Ea. I don't know if it's true or not. It's just that we have these things, our singing, our bells. But sometimes we make up stories that the Black Hills might be that giant. Because where Wind Cave is, might be the mouth. Because they say it's still breathing. I don't know if it's true. We just keep telling it over and over and over. I see you're all sleeping, my grandchildren. I want to thank you for listening to me. And in your spirit of sleep, I know I can plant seeds of sound as you're sleeping. That's one of the things that we do, is we plant seeds even when people are sleeping, because it's valuable that way. That way the sounds that we hear will always be welcoming, and it'll always be there when we come awake. That's why when mommies are going to have their babies, we sing, and we get them accustomed to sound. So when they come to earth, they won't be afraid of the sounds, because they heard it before they came to this earth. They already heard it. And when the baby comes, the baby cries to make its first gasps of sound. So Chea, crying, Chea is also praying. I don't know how these elders make up these words, but when the baby starts to cry, when it comes to earth, in this light of life, it's already praying. Because crying and praying is the same word. I hope you're listening as you sleep. I hope that when you wake up, you don't cry, but always remember to pray. I'm going to sing that song again, the thank you song for a wonderful evening. I'm going to put that in your minds as you sleep. ate ohunkanka wopila echichielo wechozani mayakucha ate wopila echichielo ate ohunkanka wocheki nami jihoyeyo ikshewicha shawa makake shelo aya Grandfather, Great Spirit, thank you for a wonderful day. Grandfather, Great Spirit, thank you for my health. Grandfather, Great Spirit, please listen to my prayer. Sometimes I get weakened and sometimes I cry. But it's only because I'm human. Grandfather, Great Spirit, thank you for a wonderful day. Mitakuye oyase. To all my relatives. Thank you.